Welcome to the iPhoneography podcast. It is, let me look, Monday, December 16th, 2024. Our last show before the big holidays. And we are going to talk about how to preserve the memories of these holidays. Stuff that you could do with your iPhone camera and whatnot. But before I do, I'm going to bring these fellas in. Mr. Dave Podner. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Greg. How's it going tonight?
Not bad. You must be almost freezing sitting in front
it's
of your
so
house
cold.
like that.
It's so cold out here, and you can't see the big umbrella I have over my head for the little bit of drizzle that's coming
Right, and
down.
then the ceramic heaters out there running too to
Exactly.
keep you warm. Yeah, and we also have Mr. Dwight Broman. Hello, Dwight. How you doing?
Hello, good evening, gentlemen. Doing fine, thank you.
You're a little more, how would I say, warmer weather.
Yeah, we had a high of
Always.
60 today, which was very cold for us.
60.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's jacket weather. That's
Yeah,
heavy jacket weather
it
for you
is.
guys.
Everything comes to a stop out here when it gets that cold.
Yeah, for sure. Well, just down in Toronto, like 2.5 hours southeast of me, if they get like a couple of inches of snow, it seems like that city just shuts down. I don't know. Maybe it's not so bad now, but a lot of times they just, they're freaking out, and I don't know if it's because they don't have their snow tires on or what. But I have my snow tires on my truck, and I put them on before the 1st of November, so I'm always ready. And but enough about the cold. We're going to talk about something that warms us up, and that is the memories of the holidays that are coming up. I remember the thing that always comes to my mind about this is when the iPhone 5S came out. There was a commercial that Apple had, and there was a teenage boy, who was really reclusive and didn't spend much time with the family, and everybody's socializing and all this stuff. And this guy, he's just kind of hanging out on his own. But then at the end of the commercial, he gets his phone ready, and he I don't know if he plugged it into the TV or he airplayed it to the TV, but all that time he was making a really cool video of all the goings on, that everybody, all the fun that everybody was having, the dinner and all that stuff. And everybody thought that was great. So, this is the time of year where it's a great opportunity to do something like this. And we're going to explore the different ways you could do that with your iPhone camera. And, it may involve, if you have a Mac or an iPad, putting things together on those devices, because sometimes it's easier than doing it on the phone. But, we'll just explore the ideas that we have. And the first thing that comes to my mind is obviously taking videos. But Dave, I want to hit you up because you shoot live photos almost exclusively, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one thing that you can do with live photos is you can actually make a video.
Right. You can stitch them together and make a video out of it. I find one of the things that does a better job than a lot of Apple products is the Google product, and I'm trying to remember what it is, because it's actually not called Google Motion Stills. It's called Motion Stills by Google. So that does a really good job of clipping live photos together into a video. And it does a really good job, a better job than what Apple's photos do with stabilization. The other thing is, if you use the Apple Clips app to make a slideshow or whatever, it will actually, it can use the live photo or the memories that you can create in the Photos app. If it's a live photo, it will make a little video clip out of it as a transition sometime. But unfortunately, that's out of your control. So if you select a bunch of photos, and a lot of them are live photos, some of them it'll keep as a still photo, and some of it based on whatever internal logic and coding they have for Apple, they'll convert it into like a little video snippet in the middle of a video of a slideshow.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing about stitching a bunch of live photos together is it's going to go fast, right? You know, it's going to be bang, 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 but that still could make it interesting.
Mm-hmm. And one thing, and I don't know how, now this won't affect you, Greg. But there we go. I'll point this way. It won't affect you, Greg. But as of now, Dwight, it's the weather man. It's the weather person's thing. You're reversing what you see on screen. TikTok will be banned in the U.S. as of January 19th.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard something about that.
Yeah, completely banned. Now, if you already have it on your phone, you can use it, but Apple and Google are getting pushed to remove it from their app store. So will it continue to be used? I don't know, because that has some really decent tools where you can take photos and make a nice slideshow out of it, including templates. But a product that TikTok has called CapCut has a lot of templates that, now admittedly, if you do a lot of horizontal photos, not great, because everything's vertical setup. So if you have a lot of vertical photos, there are some really good templates that all you have to do is select a photo. It puts it in there. It puts the transitions in. It has the music. You can export it with or without, depending on how you use it, without the little watermark on the video. And it does a really good job. And it is free. There is a pro version, but it does some kind, especially the pro version. You can do some pretty decently advanced stuff on it. Now, I don't know if that will be available after January 19th, or if they're going to pull everything, or if it's just TikTok. We don't know details.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
It's one of those wait and see things.
Exactly. But yeah, there's lots of free. Even if you don't want to go into iMovie, which if you have an iPhone, you have iMovie. Now, I had trouble getting iMovie working the last time I wanted to use it a couple weeks ago. I didn't try to uninstall it and reinstall it. But there's lots of, and the main reason I like to do like the photo slideshows is like if you go on a trip somewhere, or you have an event like a lot of people over. You could, let's say if you're posting on social media and you want everyone who came there to say, hell, here's the photos I took, and everyone can look at the photos. Posting 20, 30 plus photos, the chances of anyone taking the time to actually look at most of them is pretty low. You know, it's the stereotypical from 40, 50 years ago. Oh, I have 50 slides here that I can show you of my trip. Everyone sit down in the dark while I bring up the slideshow. And this is when we did this. Exactly. So doing and one of my photos of the week is a trip I took to the Cathedral of Learning here, University of Pittsburgh campus, for the nationality rooms. So I wanted, I could either post legitimately, trying to even narrow it down, 15 to 20 photos and just throw them up online, or I could make a 1.5-minute video where not only am I just showing pictures, but by the order of the pictures, I'm actually telling a story. Plus, you could put music to it, add a little bit more pizzazz, and you're still using photos versus video, and you can mix it too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Dwight, what about you? Like we're still getting to know you a bit because you've been a part of the show now for maybe a couple of months, but we've never really talked about this with you. But how do you preserve your memories of the holidays?
It's interesting when we came up with the subject matter of this show. I was kind of felt challenged by this one because I've always taken just raw videos and pictures, and then I've just thrown them in a file. And I think kind of as Dave alluded to a little while ago, I will occasionally go back and I will look at that slideshow without the projector. I didn't have to go into a room, pull that thing out and exchange the bulb if it was burned out or anything like that. So I'm intrigued by the possibility of stitching together videos, just to kind of capture, more live moments. And I think I mentioned in the previous podcast, I'm just now starting to get interested in the video process of the, capabilities of the iPhone. And, I think that, down the road, I'll have more of a clearer picture, how I can kind of, dovetail that in with that technology. But, right now I just have certain videos of different years and stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of intrigued by what you guys are talking about here.
Yeah. So when it comes to, like family gatherings and things like that, do you reckon you're going to be taking more video?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Kind of thing in mind.
Yeah, because I have DaVinci Resolve right now. I'm trying to learn it a little bit. I've got, I think I've got a couple other iOS programs. But I've always thought that when you take a video, it's got to be 30 seconds long and it's got to be a minute. But no, you just need a few seconds to capture a scene and then, transition through them and tell the story. So I'm just learning about that right now. So it's usually just pictures.
Yeah, I think I think it was Cielo de La Paz, who we've had on the show before. She used to do a lot of video. I don't know how much she's doing now. She's really into the film photography, but I think she said a clip should be like, I think it was like 4 to 6 seconds worth of video per clip, and because then it takes you through the story a little better. What I find myself doing is making those clips just a little too long, I think. I've got to start speeding them up, but I can't wait to see what you come up with, with this stuff. Especially, since you really haven't done it too much before. A really good app for doing this kind of thing is LumaFusion. Do you have it?
I have that. That's the one I was trying to think of on the iOS app. Yeah.
Did you know that you can, and I've done this just the other day, you can take the iPad app and put it on your Mac, and you can resize that window and everything else, and you've got that LumaFusion interface on your Mac, and it's amazing.
You mean like a mirroring?
No, it runs. What's that technology, Dave? Where you can
run a Mac OS?
Only if you have an M series chip. So if you have an Intel series, if you have an Intel series chip, I don't think it'll work. But because the M series have the same kind of back end, the silicon's the same, you can run iPad apps natively on M series Macs.
Yeah. There's a name for that.
I can look it up in a second.
I can't think of what it is, but anyway. But yeah, so you've got a studio, don't you?
Yeah, I have an M1 Mac Studio.
Yeah. Well, mine's an M1 iMac, so if I could do it, you could do it for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, you can go to, I believe it's the Mac App Store.
Okay.
And find it. And if you've already purchased it, then you can just install it on your Mac. And it's a really, really good, powerful editor that's not that hard to figure out, I think.
Well, what do you know? I have it installed.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
In line with about 1,000 other apps that are sitting there installed.
Yeah.
And from Apple's support website, it says the iPhone and iPad apps that work on Mac computers with Apple Silicon are labeled with design for iPhone, design for iPad. Any apps that you purchase that work on your maps are shown when you view your purchased apps in the App Store. And you can use the touch alternative to interact. It says here, for example, press and hold the Option key to use the trackpad as a virtual touchscreen. So instead of using the mouse, if you're used to using if you want to use a touch, just like if you would on the iPad or the iPhone, if you hold down the Option key, it says, to turn alternatives for app, choose app settings, and you can do different options. So you can use it just like it's a big iPad.
Yeah, because I use the trackpad. I have the Magic Mouse, but I never use it. I just find the trackpad so much easier to use. But so that's, I can't wait to see what you come up with, Dwight, at some point. No pressure.
Yeah.
But at some point, to put some of this stuff together. One of my favorite ways of gathering up these memories is using the memories feature in iOS, in the Photos app. And 9 times out of 10, the iPhone will put it together for you, and you don't have to do anything. If you like it the way it is, you could just save it out as a video and watch it, share it, do whatever. The thing about that is that it will oftentimes take music from your, like if you have Apple Music, say, it'll take some songs out of there and put it in the video as the soundtrack, where it will not be shareable on the internet per se. But you can go in and edit it, and you can pick out any kind of music. If you have, say, you've downloaded some royalty-free music, and it's in, say, the Files app on your iPhone, you can use that, and then you can share it, and there won't be any issues with it. I've done that before many times, and I really like the Memories app because they're generally like a minute and a half videos. They're not too long, and but you can add photos to it, or even videos. You can put a mixture of photos and videos in there, and you can, the transitions that it gives you are really cool. It's just it's just one of the best features of the Photos app, I think, in my opinion. And they're made based on, say, if you're at an event somewhere and you've taken a lot of pictures or videos, and it knows that you've been at that same place, and all those pictures and videos were taken at the same place and around the same time, and it'll gather them up or curate them and put them into one of these memories. A lot of times it's based on location, and chances are you need to have location turned on for your camera when you take these. That way it knows that they're all taken at the same place. I leave my location services on for just about everything because I find I get the most out of my iPhone that way. It's just one of the best features of Photos, I think, is that memories feature there. So there's another way. That's probably the easiest way to get into doing something like this. It's just let your phone do it for you. Sometimes it takes a day. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks for it to, put this stuff together. But it's just dead set simple.
Go ahead. I love color grading, and when Apple released the log capabilities, and I saw the different cinematic color grades of videos, that spoke to me. So I'm starting to shoot in log now, and I'm editing them in the Kino app, which I believe is a Halide product.
Yeah.
And, you have baked in color grading in the app, and I find it to be fantastic and super easy to use. And I'll probably be doing a lot of that again. To me, that's like shooting in RAW again, which I prefer on the iPhone, and log is like RAW with video. But I think I come up with some really nice different cinematic color grades, and that's kind of what I'd be looking into when doing that.
Yeah, because with iMovie, you can adjust the color and the contrast and things like that. You could put filters on, but it's not the same as color grading because you're just working with basically the JPEG version of video. You're not working with log video there.
Right.
But shooting log, I mean, it obviously is by far superior, to get the details out of shadows and things like that, and not blow out the highlights. It's just everything that RAW does for photos, it does for videos. And with the I have Kino. I bought it when it came out because it was on sale, but I haven't played around with it too much. But with Kino, those LUTs, for lack of better words, that are baked in. That are you still shooting log and with that over top, or are you shooting like
you shoot log first, and then you can apply the color grade on top of it.
But I understand you can shoot with the color grade.
You can
now, and that's still log.
I don't know if it's log after the color grade has been applied. I don't know if it turns it into something else. So I can't answer that with certainty.
Okay.
Because I don't know if video is log after it's been shot and color graded. I'm not sure.
Right. I think
but I find myself, when we watch movies at home, and this is why I'm becoming intrigued with video. I'm looking at it at a different way now. I'm looking at, wow, look at the cool tones in that. And that's the cool blues with the oranges, and that's a really cool color grade. So that's from an artistic standpoint, that's what's making me interested in videos.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool to play around with. Dave, what's your video editor of choice if you were to use something?
I've actually used kind of it's a couple different steps I do. One is I'll use the Apple Clips, or I'll use iMovie to actually kind of put together everything. And then I'll a lot of times put it in the CapCut or TikTok because of the audio library they have access to, that a lot of safe audio that you can use. So that's really useful. And they have a lot, especially inside of TikTok itself. If you search for, a particular song, commercial song, they have access to it and they have the rights. So you can add it on. Now, the Memories inside of the Photos app does a much superior job when it comes to clipping the audio so it fades off and it kind of ends when your movie ends. It actually is like, okay, your movie's ending. I'm going to, take this longer cut of music and narrow it down and chop it so it sounds like it's ending with it versus, something else where the music is 50 seconds long, your video's 38, and it just kind of chops and kills it. Yeah. But yeah, if you're looking for like anything else, like I said, I use TikTok a lot, but I create the video and then I import it and then I put the music on top and any effects I want to put on top.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just so many options. And now the thing about with TikTok, they've got, the rights to this music. What about cross-posting? I've cross-posted a good amount. Sometimes when I cross-post it on Facebook as a reel, it will say this is not available in certain countries because of rights. Yeah. Okay,
but a lot of times, if it's available, it'll actually add it to the playlist. So like Facebook, Instagram, they all have these playlists that, you're using this music, we'll add it to this playlist. So that can actually increase your reach too. Because then people look for, is there any music that has been, or any videos or something that uses this music, and yours will be included in that. Yeah.
It's a funny thing, putting music to a video. I go to a website called Free Music Archive, I think it is, and I just have a free account there, and I can go through all kinds of songs that are from, people you've never heard of, but they put together this, a lot of different kinds of music. There's all different genres, and I've come up with some pretty cool music for videos. One of them is on my YouTube channel. I put my fall shooting for 2024, and I used 5, I think it was, songs that I found on the Free Music Archive. And all they ask most of the time is that you in the description of the video credit them and put a link to the license, like the Creative Commons license that they have applied to that music. And, then as Shane would say, Robert's your mother's brother and you're done. And so there's ways to get good music for free. Another one is the name escapes me now. If I'd have known I was going to talk about it, I'd look it up beforehand. But it's right on YouTube. There's like copyright free or royalty free music on YouTube, and there's a few different channels that you can actually find this stuff on. The only thing is with YouTube, I don't know how you can download it. I know on the Free Music Archive you can download it to your hard drive and save it, as long as you make a note of whatever it is they want you to do with your video and put it in the description. But yeah, there's all kinds of ways to do that. One of my favorite things to do when I put a video together is to use like in iMovie, say, I use the Ken Burns effect. So what that does is it basically highlights a part of the image and gives it, motion. It'll take it across the screen this way, or it'll zoom in, or it'll zoom out, and it does, relatively slow, and it kind of gives life to otherwise still images when you're watching a video, like say set to music. It's so you're not going to see the whole frame, the whole image, but it kind of intuitively on its own will pick out the best parts of the image and use that as the from point A to point B within the frame. But you can always customize them, and it works in iMovie on the phone as well as on the Mac or iPad. And I just find, and there, of course, there's all these different transitions and title pages and all that stuff. I find it one of the best ways to do it if you're going to do it manually. Another thing you can do that works kind of that way is if you say, okay, I've got, let's just say my son's wedding from 2019. I put a whole bunch of pictures in an album in Photos. I can click, or I can either long press on the album on the iPhone, or right click on the album on the Mac, and hit create, and you can create a slideshow. Hi, Greg here. I'm just in the middle of editing this podcast, and I wanted to just jump in and say that what I just said about right-clicking or long pressing on the album in Photos, the Mac part works, but the Photos part is different, where you can basically create like a memory video rather than a slideshow from the album on the iPhone. And now back to the regular content. And what that does is there's different ways that it'll build it. You can use the Ken Burns effect. You can use an origami thing that goes from one to the other, and it folds the image open, and it's kind of a weird thing. But when it makes a slideshow, it'll put a title at the beginning, generally the name of the album, but you can actually change that, take that title off if you want. And you can make the slideshow go as long as you want. You can pick music from your device to go with the slideshow, all that stuff. It's another really good way to put together a batch of memories right on your device. And if you have a Mac, everything's a lot easier on the Mac when you're doing all this stuff, I'm sure. Except CapCut. I don't know if they even do they have a Mac version, Dave? Or is it just iOS and iPad?
As far as I think they have a Mac version. Let me double check here.
But as far as putting this stuff together goes, if you have a Mac, it's pretty easy. Like the camera club that I'm in town here, we're talking about this stuff right now, actually, because our meeting tomorrow night, they want people to put some of these things together and bring them, on a thumb drive or whatever, and then we're going to show them, in front of everybody at the meeting, because this is just like a Christmas type of meeting where everybody just, relaxing, and there's no formality going on. It's just everybody's kind of chilling out watching these things. And at the last meeting, they demonstrated how you can do this stuff on Windows in a program on Windows and in iMovie on the Mac. I'm hoping that a lot of the people that were there kind of learned how to pick this stuff up and put some stuff together, because it'll be interesting. But it's definitely a great way to put these memories together, as opposed to just a slideshow of a picture and then another picture and another picture. It brings it to life, right? So CapCut, it's on the desktop?
Yeah. It's on Windows and Mac.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And it's on Android devices also, in addition to iOS.
It's really versatile, like as far as where you can access it. But I don't recommend that if anybody is just getting into this. I don't recommend them hitting DaVinci Resolve, Dwight, unless they really want to,
Yeah, I like the challenge. It seems very advanced. Just taking little steps at a time.
Yeah,
I like that challenge. It was similar from when I dove into Photoshop about a year ago. I didn't think there was any way that I was going to scratch the surface of it, and I'm getting there now. So
you're stick handling your way around Photoshop like you could put together a YouTube channel. Come on.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen you work on it, and I'm just sitting there like a deer caught in the headlights.
Yeah, I'm pretty dedicated to that, and I've worked on a lot of software programs, in my life from a professional basis, design software and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I like the challenge.
Yeah. So do you guys have any other ways that you can think of to, preserve these holiday memories?
Yeah, I like to create cards, holiday cards, Christmas cards.
Right.
And I've done that in the past. And I think what that does is it kind of takes a piece of you and puts it out to other people. So, it's something that they can always look back on, and, it's still there.
Yeah. So that reminds me of this image right here. You have been very kind to offer this up to our listeners and viewers to use as a Christmas card if they want to make one up.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. Feel free.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this image.
I used the light trails mode, and I can't remember what camera app it was. It might have been Reflex, where when I took the picture, I just moved the camera just a little bit to create a little bit of motion, not necessarily blur, but it captures kind of the light trails of when the people are moving, so you can kind of see the legs aren't true representation of what it would look like if he was still, right? So
yeah,
it kind of gives it an artistic kind of look, and I think I've kind of blurred her jacket a little bit so it wasn't too sharp. But and then I had the the background there. I had there were Christmas lights, and I just did brushwork and a few textures on top of it. I blended it, and then obviously I brought the insect in there as well. Mm-hmm. And then I took it over into Luminar, and they've got a feature there called Magic Light, and it'll pick up lights and it will brighten them. I didn't want to do it with every single one of them, but you can see a couple of the white ones there. Mm-hmm. I use that, and then you can kind of adjust the size of it and how many beams are coming off it. And then I added some light, with some exposure adjustments, via masking and a few things like that. So I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And again, that's very kind of you to offer that up.
Yeah, feel free to use it.
Make a Christmas card. We've actually made some this year from pictures of our dogs, and I just printed it on matte photo paper, and they were smaller, so I basically printed it on half of the matte paper or of the sheet, and then just fold it in half and put, everything kind of works out that way. So I printed the inside of the card on the dull side of the sheet because it's basically just black text. And then when I run it through the printer again, I printed the color part of it, like the front of it, which would be like this picture. I printed it on the brighter white side, and it worked out pretty good. So
yeah, and then you've got the template programs too. If you want to do an online one, like BazArt or one of those things, you can just plug this right in, and it has, you can open it, or it's already open, or you can put Merry Christmas or whatever you want to put on top of it.
Yeah. So I'll put this on probably on my Google Drive and I'll put a link where people can download it right in the show notes. I'm trying to think now. Okay, so it won't be in the YouTube show notes right away because it'll take me a bit to get that done. But I'll definitely have it in the show notes, and then in the podcast, the audio podcast, when it comes out, it'll be in those show notes right away too. So so thanks again, and that's pretty cool.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, so any other thoughts, ideas about preserving these memories? I can think of one, and that is printing your photos and putting them in a photo album, like say a miniature album. It would make a great gift. Just a bunch of 4x6s or whatever. It would make a great gift to give to people. It's I don't know what you guys would pay for 4x6 prints, but I think they're like cheap as cheap to get them done now.
One place I use the Free Prints app, where basically you all you do is pay for. You can get so many photos per. You only get one per each, but you get so many photos. They're basically, they call it free, but you're paying shipping and handling. It still comes out if you make enough photos. It comes out to like 15 cents per print. And you just go in the app, you select it, pay with Apple Pay, and it just gets shipped to you within a week or so.
Oh yeah,
and it works good. And they also have the same company has where you can get a tile, like a ceramic tile, one per month. Again, you're paying shipping and handling, photo book, calendar, different spins on it, if you will.
Okay, cool. Maybe I'll get a link from you for that, and we'll put that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, and if you really want to do it up, you can put together one of those electronic albums. You preload it with images.
Like a frame, a photo frame that runs a slideshow type of thing?
Yeah, for your, maybe close family members, that's a good one. They can just plug it in, and then the pictures just flow through. Yeah,
that's a good idea. I haven't seen one of them in quite some time, but I do know they exist, and they are. Where did I see one? I saw one on a video. I think it was somebody did a YouTube video where they had. It was a really nice one. Oh, I think it might have been Adam Gibbs, landscape photographer out of British Columbia. And I think he was putting one together to give away, and it was going to have a bunch of these pictures that he's putting in a book or something like that. And, and it had a little clock in the corner and different things like that. But that's a really good idea. And not something that you want to give to everybody because they're not that cheap, I guess, but definitely a good idea. So, well, I think we've come up with some pretty decent ideas between the three of us, and I don't know how I'm going to preserve the memories from this holiday season. Probably using memories out of the Photos app, more than likely. Just depends on how many pictures I actually take. Sometimes I do like to take a break and just enjoy the moments, but I encourage everybody to play around with some of these ideas, and if you can't figure them out, YouTube's a great resource to learn how to do all this stuff. I got a link in the show notes for the memories in the Photos app. Now it's from macmost.com, and it's going to be Mac related, but I think you could pretty much do the same thing on the iPhone and the iPad.
Yeah, he has great content.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I learned so much from that guy. Gary Rosenzweig is his name, and he's so he's so knowledgeable, and he explains things so well. I highly recommend subscribing to his channel, especially if you want to learn how to do stuff with the Mac. But he does do stuff on the iPhone too. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll move on to our recent photos now. I didn't take a lot of images in the last couple of weeks, but I managed to scrounge up a couple for this. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to go with you, Dwight, first, and then Dave, and then me. I think that's, or no, Dwight, me, and then Dave. I think that's how they kind of put them in the order they came in. And I guess we'll just go through them. So if you're on your podcast player on your phone, take a look at your screen, not while you're driving. That's not safe, but take a look at your screen. You can see the images we're talking about. And if you're on the YouTube channel, by all means, chime in and give us some comments, questions about the images and whatnot. And Dwight, we'll start with you with this one.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things to do in the fall is to capture the sunsets, when they're nice. And unfortunately, this year I have not had a chance to get down there due to my schedule. But I did capture this one a little while back, and this is Aliso Creek that flows into the Pacific Ocean. This is considered South Laguna Beach, and just on the other side of that berm, if you go to the right, is a very popular skimboarding beach. I think that's where skimboarding really started taking off as a sport. But I liked this because I had a nice object in the foreground. I had a leading line of the river flowing into the sea, and I just liked the colors on this, and just the way the nature just carved out that berm in the sand with the high tide.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm about to say that not only the colors, because the colors are amazing, especially the sky. Going from the sun on the far right to a little bit of blue peeking through the clouds on the left there. But looking at the sand itself, seeing the striations in you can actually see the striations in the sand, layers in the sand, or if you zoom in, it just, wow.
Thank you, Lightroom, for letting me add a little bit of texture there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to say, like, is this a typical Dwight Broman edit, Photoshop and Lightroom, or did you do anything different here?
This was prior to all of that. So this is, I believe, a Pro Raw file, and I probably did the Photoshop edit to it, and I probably didn't need to because, as you know, the Pro Raw files are already pretty well squared away out of camera. So no, this was not done in Photoshop. I believe this was done solely in Lightroom.
Okay. I do like the colors, with the way the clouds layer the sky. It's like there's, I don't know my cloud names, but it's like there's a low-lying layer of poofy clouds, and then the higher layer where they're just kind of all spread out and more flat on at least on the bottom side. And the separation of those two gives it a real sense of depth. Mm-hmm. And even something that I'm trying to pay more attention to when I do landscapes is concentrate on giving it a foreground. And you've done that really well here with the foreground on the left with the dead tree kind of coming up on the left-hand side. I think that really adds to it. To me, if that wasn't there, it almost might seem like too much negative space, but it kind of gives it character and really adds to it.
Yeah, one of the things I learned in kind of my training for landscape photography is always try to have a foreground, midground, and a background. And that's why I kind of like this scene. And then it did offer some reflection as well on the creek coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a good opening shot for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so this one's mine. big time guilty, no foreground. But it didn't, where I was shooting this, it didn't lend itself to much of a foreground. There was, if anybody remembers my image from the last show, it was a winter scene like this, taken from the same place actually, but off to the right. And there was a lump of snow with something like a plant or a tree stump or something underneath it. You couldn't even tell what it was, but I used that in my foreground of that image, and it was a vertical. But this one here, I was pretty well just trying to get the reflection. As far as the color goes, that's pretty much how it was. It was a really gold color in the sky, reflecting in the water. Last year, around, well, it was actually Halloween night, when we got a blast of like wet, heavy snow, I took a shot from this very same spot, and it was one of my favorite images that I've ever taken. And so this is the same location, just a slightly different composition. And I used the reflex 2x telephoto lens on the main camera of my iPhone 15. And so that's basically what it was. I don't think I cropped much off of this, maybe a little bit off the top and bottom to give it like a 3:2 ratio. But those are our fine Canadian Air Force in the background there, Canada geese, and they're just kind of lazing around, just enjoying the water, and that's pretty much it.
They come down and see us certain parts of the year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thunder chickens. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder chickens.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones you have to watch out for as they dive bomb you. Yes. In the parking lot.
Yeah. Thunder chickens. I've never heard them called thunder chickens before. That's a good one.
or I've heard people call them cobra chickens.
Yes, I have heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be vicious.
But I'll say this. I understand, having the 3 layers, but the reflection kind of acts as a foreground. Because it isn't just, you just don't have a plain water that's a single color. Even if it was just straight golden, you do have the trees giving you kind of a foreground look. And same thing with the clouds in the sky. You just don't have you do have texture and different shades and color in the water in front of us. So it acts as a bit of a foreground there, because lots of times, like I said, that, or let's say puddles. There is a local photographer, Carla Cardello, and one of the things she's known for is her puddle shots and using reflections. Mm-hmm. And the using the puddle and that reflection as a foreground, can be really powerful, especially when you have looks like the lake was pretty. I see a little bit of rippling in the lake, but it's not like it's a heavy wind or, that much distortion in the reflection.
Yeah. And it's actually a river, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It flows from out of the left of the frame, and it flows across. And that's a little island, of course. And it just kind of joins back together at the other end of the island and carries on right down through town.
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I mean, that was the first thing that I recognized when I saw this photo, and you were talking about, not having a foreground. I was thinking, well, you do, in my opinion. You do have the trees in the water, but I think more importantly is the composition. You went for central composition, I think, with that tree line in the background, and then you've got the light from the left to right that funnels you down, basically across the scene into, through the thunder chickens and the island. Yeah. I think it's good. I think this would also be a nice 16 by 9 shot.
Yeah, it probably would. I would probably just take it off the top, though, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's nice. That's beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Another one of my favorite places to capture a shot, especially around sunset. So, Dave, this is really cool.
Yeah, this is inside the common room of the Cathedral of Learning. So The building was built between 1926 and 1937, I think they said. It is the story behind it, whether it happened or not, who knows? But the Chancellor University picked up a cab in the mid-20s and said, take me to University of Pittsburgh. And the cab driver's like, where's that at? So he wanted to make a statement building. This building is 42 stories tall. And the common area is it's 3 floors, but because of the ceiling, it's like a 4-story common area.
Wow.
With slate floors and and unlike, let's say, a more modern building where they would have the structural and then the arch would just kind of be like a drop, just a facade for it. This is actual structural material for all the arches here. So the entire first 3 floors is this. The best way I can describe it for, let's say, somewhat younger people is like a Harry Potter. Like Hogwarts, because you have that medieval castle look to it. And this is an everyday class building, which is even a little wild. This isn't like a special building, or they have classes day to day here. So the first and third floor have special rooms that are, and if you look at my social media, I posted a video about it, for different nationalities, and they're made up for Christmas. And a lot of those classrooms are just used. They're just like, oh, you're having an English course. It's in this particular building that is done up to look like to give homage to an Indian university that's been around for 1,000 years, with everything kind of, decorated that way. But yeah, they wanted a statement building. And this was started before the Great Depression and finished during the Great Depression. So there was, when it was starting to be built, there was kind of pressure to say, hey, do we really want to spend this much money? When they said, no, it needs to get finished. This is going to make a statement. This is going to make a big, so, and at the time, this part of town wasn't overly developed. Now it's densely packed. The university takes a lot of that part of town, and it's the Oakland neighborhood. But at the time, it was farmland. So you have this giant, 42-story building, this Gothic kind of tower, and the first 40 floors are used for just classrooms. And you could have a class on the 36th floor. You go up on the elevator, you just take your class, and you can come down here to the commons area and, bring out your laptop and just work on your paper, just try to do some studying here. And in the basement, there's a cafeteria, a little cafe. And it's just a really amazing area just to go and get. And when you're in there, the other thing that's kind of neat is the elevator goes to floor 1 and 3, but it doesn't go to 2. So to go to floor 2, you need to go up staircases. Now you could use kind of the fireproof staircases that all buildings have to have for code. But there's a couple of staircases that are in the middle here that you just kind of wind up these staircases as literally, it's like you're in a hidden passage, it feels like. Because it's that, the stone material on the wall as you're kind of going up in between. So it's really awe-inspiring to look.
Yeah, this is an interesting photo. When I first saw it, I really love that color of green on the floor. To me, it almost looked like water. And I thought people were at tables in the water or something. It was really, really interesting. I had to look at it close. I actually had to go back to the photos album that we share. But this is neat. It's got a nice perspective, off the left side. The support structure kind of falls off into the background. That little bit of pink and gold in the ceiling and the green. I think all those colors work together. I think it's really neat. It'd be a really nice place to visit sometime. Yeah. But no, I think that's a great perspective. Good eye on that one, Dave.
Yeah, I'm guessing that was just the main camera. Was it, Dave?
You know what? I'm because
it doesn't look overly. Well, no, you know what? Now that I look at it, I think it might have been the ultra wide because I do see the chairs at the very bottom of the frame stretched a little bit, which is kind of conducive of what the ultra wide might do.
I'm gonna do a quick double check here.
But the architecture is just amazing.
Yeah.
Golly, the texture and the stones and of the pillars and the wall and all that stuff, just very, very cool. And I could just imagine you could probably get lost in there for a day taking pictures. I mean, now does the design of it, does it change much going as you go through the building, or is it very?
I've only been on the first 3 floors.
Okay.
So I don't know if you go higher up, if they, like in the 60s and 70s, retrofitted it to make it look modern. Hopefully not.
Right, yeah.
But the common area really, and no, this was what they call the fusion camera. So this was the main camera.
Okay, yeah.
I did do some de-skewing, if you will, on the photo a little bit, just to get a little more straightened up. So that may be why the tables may look a little bit off. But yeah, so that was just, taking it that way. And like I said, there are some photos I saw, like the honors department, honors college, or whatever you want to call it, are like on the 35th and 36th floor. And it's like a 2-story office.
Wow.
So it is. So like the office actually has like a staircase between the 2 floors in their office area. But yeah, the bottom 3 floors are actually, it's the walkway. If you zoom in on the photo, kind of going straight all the way across, and you would have to really, you can see people on the other side, straight across. So the walkway goes all the way around the outside. So if you're on one half and you need to go on the other side, you got to walk all the way around.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's a really cool shot. I'm glad you went there and took these pictures, because you certainly don't see anything like this around here. I mean, I would have to go down to Toronto, I think, in order to see anything like this. And I'm not a real fan of going down there in the big city like that, but definitely a very cool shot. And the green and the floor, I really love the tone and the color of that floor. It's pretty cool. And well, let's just jump to this one, because I don't know why, but it's in there next. I've taken pictures like this before, with a silhouette like this, and I think it's really cool. So tell us a little bit about this one.
Sure. This was actually, I'm trying to remember exactly where I took this at, because, this was on a run. So this was on an afternoon run. And the sun just kind of facing west. And when I took the picture, it wasn't 100% silhouetted. And I used the photographic styles to do editing on here. And I'm trying to see which one I used here. Dramatic. So I used a dramatic style, and I did some cleanup to get rid of some telephone poles and telephone lines that went across. But for the dramatic, I love even though 100% not realistic, the teal sky. I just love that shade of teal. But I mean, the clouds were there. It was, taken around 4:30 in the afternoon. So it was around a half hour before sunset. And the way I was able to get, I liked when I got the, like I said, the silhouette of the church and the branches kind of going across. So it wouldn't just have the church in the middle and a whole bunch of blank space. So it had the dead tree, if you will. Not the dead tree, but the hibernating tree kind of going across.
Yeah, that's really cool. First thing I was gonna ask you, Dave, was there a hue adjustment done? Because that's obviously Yeah, that's the teal and orange look. That's nice. The nature's gradient. And I'm trying to see if that tree's in the foreground or
It's
the
in the
background.
foreground. No, it is in the foreground. Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes it it makes it interesting. It's almost as if the tree's reaching out to that object there. I think it's nice. And I mean, just the sky blows me away. Hard to reproduce with a paintbrush, but I think the dramatic style was nice on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, it almost looks like the tree is actually coming in front of the steeple on one part and behind it at the other. So it's almost like it's embracing it. That's kind of the optical illusion that I get from it. Mm-hmm. And the cleanup tool did a great job because I couldn't even. I have no idea where the lines could possibly be in this that you took out. I think it's getting better and better with every iteration of the betas and all that stuff that come out. And I think it's certainly better in 18.2 of iOS 18.2, than it was in the first beta where it was actually released. But yeah, like the teal color with the orange, it's a perfect combination. And you don't need any detail in the building because the silhouette just really works, and it's just a really cool capture.
Thanks.
So Dwight, here's your second one.
Okay, this is another one at Aliso Beach. So they were both walking together, the dog and the subject, the gal on the left with the umbrella, and all of a sudden the dog took off. And I was trying to compose this thing right, so I figured I'll get the dog on the right third at the intersection of the lower third and the right third. So I figured I got my composition fine there. And then when I looked at it, I noticed the pet owner kind of doing her own thing, and it just kind of dawned on me that each of them were in their own separate worlds. For a given moment here, she was walking kind of with her head down and the umbrella. I think there was a little bit of light rain, obviously deep in thought. And her dog, I believe it was a golden retriever, was off just having a blast. So it was kind of doing its own thing. And I just I liked it. Again, I like the colors in the sky. And that's one of my favorite places to take photographs for sure.
Let me ask you, because I'm seeing the palm trees on the right side there, and it looks behind it. It looks like there's a structure back there.
Yeah, that's the Montage Resort, which is in South Laguna, and that's kind of a walkway up there, and that is a little structure that you can. There's benches underneath it, and you can get out of the sun if you want in the summertime.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to tell from distance exactly what it is, but it looks like it's just a little bit there. But like you said, the dog and the way the dog's cornering, you just the timing was perfect, where the dog was just kind of like completely enjoying it, and just going around. And again, the sky absolutely gorgeous. The sky's mind-blowing in terms of how it looks, and the different texture on the sand too. Just wow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Speaking of timing, the stride that the woman has with the umbrella, just where her feet are, I think is just perfect as well. I mean, you could have got her with her feet together, the other one behind, like the right foot behind the left, it might not have worked out, but just her heel is just touching the ground in her stride. And I think that's the perfect timing in this situation anyway, for a subject like that.
And it shows motion. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I had no idea that it could have been raining, but if you look carefully in the water, especially say in this area right here, it almost looks like raindrops, throughout the water there. And it's just it justifies her carrying the umbrella. It's not maybe just because she's, hot or the sun was hot or whatever. But looking at the sky in the background, out over the ocean, you would think, okay, why is she carrying an umbrella? But I mean,
Right.
it just goes to show you can't really exactly tell what the sky is doing above you, out of frame. And this must be a really cool place to be when the waves are really hitting. Have you ever been out there when the waves are high and like it's like almost like surf weather?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't surf there because the waves break right on the beach there, so it's
Oh,
not a good surfing spot for me at least. But it is for skimboarding, and I've been there when the waves are very big.
yeah. Like how big would they be?
You get some 8-footers rolling in at times.
Oh, wow.
And then that's measuring from the back, so you can almost double that for the face.
Wow.
And it gets pretty big right in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun to shoot.
Yeah.
When you get that 240 millimeter reflex lens, that'd be a great time to take that out.
Which is starting to ship on Wednesday, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's and a good landscape shot with a subject like a person in it. Generally, they wear a red jacket. So I think it's very fitting that she had a red umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
It just adds to the picture. Like if that was a blue umbrella, a green umbrella, any color but red, I just don't think it would work.
Yeah.
You might be faced with a bit of color swapping or something in that case, but because it's a red umbrella, it just fits the image so well. With all the earth tones and the sand and the colors in the sky and that, it just works.
It was red, and I did isolate that, and I did bring up the saturation just a tad, just to highlight it a little more.
Right. Yeah. Well, it really works well. Another great image.
Thank you. Oh,
This is Ginger. She was sitting on my wife's lap at the table. I don't think. Okay, so our TV would have been, quite a ways away in front of her. And sometimes we'll put like a YouTube video on showing like birds or cats or something like that. And she'll sit there and watch it and watch it and watch it. I don't think that was what was going on here. I think there might have been some food on the table that she was looking at and she had her eyes on. And actually, I used on the right-hand side behind her here would have been my wife's arm. But I took it out with generative remove in Lightroom Mobile because it just made it too busy on that part of the frame. So there's a wooden beam along the wall there that it just filled in nicely. But yeah, I just called her name. She looked at me and I took the shot. I used the natural photographic style, and it took. I didn't have it in portrait mode when I took the image, but as you know, if the camera recognizes like a person or a pet, it'll embed the portrait mode information in the file. So I utilized that by blurring the background a little more and making sure I made sure her right eye was in sharp focus because the left one's kind of dark and not well lit. And just maybe boosted the saturation a wee bit and give it a vignette, and that's about all I did with it.
I mean, it's first of all, it's adorable. The look on Ginger's face is just, I it's like, huh? It's almost like I'm here. Where's dinner?
Yeah,
I've worked a hard day, or it's like time to wake. Oh, you got your coffee over there. Where's my thing right here?
Yeah,
and it's absolutely just so precious to look.
Yeah, she's a cutie, and this is shortly after we had her groomed. But as you can see, it's not really neat and tidy around here. But the groomer said that when she was trying to do her face, she was looking around everywhere, and it was very hard to do. So we thought, okay, that's okay, don't worry about it. Maybe we could touch that up a little bit on her own, because she's a little more calm with us than she would be with somebody else. But yeah, she is a cutie, and just a real live wire when she's got so much energy. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a very cute photo. I initially thought you did that in portrait, but that makes sense because it does recognize humans and pets, I believe, if you shoot in the standard. I want to know what Ginger's shirt says in the back.
It says,
is that an S maybe for Santa Claus?
Stay cozy, I think.
Stay cozy. That's cute.
I think that's what it says.
And one of the things one of the first things I looked at were Ginger's arms. It almost looked like a setup, like how they put a costume on and to put two fake arms out.
Oh yeah,
because they're just perfectly straight and resting perfectly parallel to each other, and that's nice. And even your Starbucks cup blends with the environment as well.
Well, that's Tim Hortons. You guys, I don't think you guys have Tim Hortons in Cali. Dave, do you have Tim Hortons in Pittsburgh?
We have. It's actually the only one nearby is inside the hockey arena.
Oh, okay.
There's a Tim Hortons there. Now you can get Tim Hortons coffee at the grocery store, but that's not. That's like one of those brand deals. They slap the name on something else type thing. Yeah. I want to say Erie, maybe the closest one we have. I don't know if it's there anymore, but Erie is almost Canada.
Yeah. Well, Dwight, Tim Hortons is very similar to like Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I've seen them back east, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if Starbucks is buying the same cups. I'll have to go look.
I don't know.
They do look very similar. It has that. Yeah. The even the shade of red.
Yeah.
Is very similar to a lot of them get.
Yeah, this is one of the Christmas themed cups that Tim's has out right now. So that's a snowman on the right, and Timbits going up. The Timbits are just like little balls of. I used to say they when they make the donut, they cut the middle out, and there's the Timbit.
Yeah,
but it's
but the use of light on here, the light just came out beautifully. How it highlights that front side of Ginger and kind of wraps around the back. I think that really worked out well, right? Because photography is using light, right?
Oh, it sure is, and I think that's part of the it caught my eye. Like the light really caught my eye. The light from the window, and I'll take a picture of something when the light really catches my eye, whether it's going to be a good picture or not. But sometimes the light makes all the difference. And that's definitely what happened here.
Yeah. Very nice.
Thank you. So that is our recent photos. A good mix. Okay, so for the 30th, that would be our next show. We're going to probably do a lot more of what you just saw with photos. And I think what we kind of planned on doing was maybe picking 5 of our favorite images of the year and just talking about them. We may come up with other things. I don't know what exactly we have planned yet, but that's one of the things we talked about doing. And Dwight, he may not be there for that one. I'm not sure yet. We'll play that one by ear, but who knows? We may decide to can it for that week, but we'll see what happens. It's right in the middle of the holidays. It's the 30th of December. We won't guarantee that there will be a show. Let's put it that way. And if there's not going to be one, then I'll definitely post it in the Facebook group, social media, wherever, saying so, and we'll just see what happens. And don't forget, folks, we will have a link to Dwight's Christmas card image in the show notes for the YouTube channel, probably sometime tomorrow, but it will definitely be in the podcast player show notes. And I don't know. Well, anything else you guys want to bring up before we call it a night?
I think I'm good.
Yep.
Have a good one, everyone.
And hopefully everyone has a good holiday and whatever you celebrate and you enjoy. You get a chance to be with family and hopefully relax a little bit, which I know is an unusual concept around the holidays, but
exactly.
There was just real quick. There was a really funny meme I saw. Now you know those memes that go around with Beetlejuice, that guy Beetlejuice. You've seen him?
Oh yeah,
he's frequents Howard Stern's show and all that.
Oh, that guy.
Well, there's that.
Okay.
There's that famous one where somebody says to him, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Huh? Who, me? Oh, just hanging around." Well, I saw that it was that clip, and the caption was, "Everybody at work between now and New Year's," or something like this. That is so accurate. I mean, at work, we're getting stuff done, yes, but we're just in such a relaxed mood, and it's just the end of the year. It just seems to be like that all the time. So, definitely relax and enjoy this time of year, and by all means, stay safe. Out there if you're traveling. Whatever the weather, make sure you check the weather forecast and just stay safe and make sure everybody's home safely after traveling and whatnot. So, because we want everybody to come back and watch and listen in the new year. But I guess on that note, we'll call it a night. And thanks everybody for listening, and thanks on YouTube for watching.
Have a great one, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.